Imagine making a career out of telling smart people they're wrong. Not because they're unintelligent, because they're too confident. That's essentially what Nassim Nicholas Taleb has done for the last 20 years. He's one of the most influential thinkers in finance, economics, psychology, and risk analysis. CEOs quote him, traders study him, scientists debate him. And if you've ever heard someone say, nobody could have predicted that it was a black swan, you've already encountered his work. But here's the strange thing. Taleb doesn't actually care about predicting the future. He cares about exposing our obsession with pretending we can. Because according to him, the biggest danger isn't that the world is unpredictable. It's that constantly forget it is. And once you understand why he believes that, you will start seeing the world a little differently. Taleb wasn't born on Wall Street. He grew up in Lebanon, where his family lived a comfortable life until the Lebanese civil war shattered everything. Almost overnight, institutions collapsed. Neighborhoods became battlefields, and the future people had confidently planned simply disappeared. For most of us, history is something we read about. For Taleb, it arrived at his front door. That experience left him with a question that would define his career. What if the biggest events in history are the ones nobody sees coming? Later, as a derivatives trader on Wall Street, he noticed something disturbing. Markets weren't usually destroyed by everyday fluctuations. They were destroyed by rare events everyone believed were impossible. That's where his most famous idea came from, the Black Swan. People often think a black swan is just a surprising event. It's more specific than that. It's an event that's considered extremely unlikely, has an enormous impact, and afterward, everyone invents stories explaining why it was obvious all along. Think about the 2008 financial crisis, or the COVID-19 pandemic, or the sudden rise of technologies like ChatGPT. Before they happened, most people didn't expect them. Afterward, everyone claimed they made perfect sense. That's human nature. We don't just experience history, we rewrite it. Taleb believes humans have an addiction, not to money, not to power, to stories. Our brains hate randomness. So, whenever something happens, we immediately build a neat explanation. Success becomes hard work. Failure becomes bad planning. History becomes inevitable. But reality is rarely that tidy. Taleb uses the example of a turkey. Every morning, someone feeds it. For hundreds of days, the evidence is overwhelming. Humans are friendly. Life is predictable. But then the Thanksgiving arrives. The turkey didn't lack data, it lacked imagination. That's Taleb's point. Past experience doesn't guarantee future safety. Sometimes it creates false confidence. The more stable things appear, the less prepared we become for change. That's why Taleb is skeptical of experts who confidently predict the future. It's not that experts know nothing, it's that the future always knows something they don't. Most things break under stress. A glass falls, it shatters. Some things survive stress. A bridge withstands a storm. But Taleb argued there's a third category. Things that actually improve because they're challenged. Your muscles grow by being stressed. Your immune system learns through exposure. Evolution itself advances through countless failures. Taleb invented a word for this: antifragile. Not resilient, not durable, better because of disorder. Once you understand the idea, you start seeing it everywhere. Businesses that survive recessions often become stronger. People who overcome setbacks usually gain confidence they couldn't have developed otherwise. Even forests need occasional small fires to prevent catastrophic ones later. Modern life often tries to eliminate every inconvenience. Taleb thinks that's a mistake, because avoiding every small problem can leave us completely unprepared for a big one. Nature doesn't optimize for comfort, it optimizes for survival. And survival usually comes with a little discomfort. You don't have to agree with everything Taleb says. Many people don't. He is famously argumentative, brutally direct, and sometimes dismissive of people he thinks are intellectually careless. But maybe that's why his ideas have lasted. He forces us to ask uncomfortable questions. How much of success is actually skill? How many experts are just explaining the past instead of understanding the future? And how often do we mistake confidence for competence? We live in a world that rewards certainty. Social media rewards strong opinions. News channels reward bold predictions. Nobody goes viral saying, "I'm not sure." Taleb reminds us that "I don't know" isn't weakness. It's often the most honest place to begin. Because the future has a habit of surprising everyone. Empires fall, markets crash, unknown companies change entire industries. Ideas that sound ridiculous become obvious in hindsight. History isn't shaped only by what we expect, it's shaped by what we fail to imagine. Maybe that's the real lesson behind all of Taleb's books. You don't become wiser by predicting every surprise. You become wiser by building a life that can survive them. Because uncertainty isn't a flaw in the system, it is the system. And the people who thrive aren't the ones who think they know what's coming. They're the ones who never forget that they don't.